Answer a couple questions about it. I mean, you've gotten a lot of flack for this.
Really?
I have to ask you. We all saw the story about you not showing up here as often, perhaps, as some others. And what justifies a pay raise?
Well, I show up quite often, but I may not have shown up in the chamber for a hearing because I'm the president and I have other duties and responsibilities. That's all I'm going to answer on that particular.
What do you say to people who say, well, if you worked in the private sector, it certainly wouldn't be this way?
Well, I have a difference of opinion. If I worked in the private sector, I'd be making a lot more money than I do right now.
But it is a public sector office, and you did run for it.
That's right, and I think that I've served in the capacity well. And before I decided to run for public office, I worked in the public sector in this particular building, and I made $103,000 a year. And since then, I've been making $87,000 a year. That same position makes about $120,000 a year. So I consider that, you could perceive that there's been a service and a sacrifice related to doing the position.
The median Boston income as of 2013 was $53,000. So how do you justify $46,000 over that?
Well,
or even more.
There's nearly 4,000 people who work for the city of Boston that make over $100,000 a year.
Is that right? I mean,
well,
this is when the people are making less?
It's what it is. Those are negotiated contracts along with incremental raises, along with categories and ordinances that placed them in those positions in the past. I'm dealing with this now.
So it's not a money grab on your part?
No, it isn't.
Well, how do you explain to people who have not seen their salaries gone up? As long as yours haven't gone up.
Well, in my capacity as a city councilor, I've been in a position to support raises, reasonable raises for public employees that work for the municipality. In the average raise over the 10 years that I'm talking about that the council hasn't received a raise, they've received 2.7% each year. So I've done my job in that regard. That's the only place that I have a responsibility and ability to impact the wages. And I support others in the private sector and stood on picket lines and so forth, supporting folks.
Now, the mayor has proposed $99,000. You've proposed $105,000. You still stand by your proposal? Would you support the mayor's proposal?
Well, I think both matters are going into committee, and at that point, there'll be a resolve coming out of that.
Do you have a timetable for when that might happen?
I mean, I'm hoping it's as soon as possible. I'm sure my colleagues are.
This year, before the election?
Oh, absolutely.
Before the election, because you can't vote on your own pay raises.
Yes, no, absolutely, before the final election.
Before November?
Yes.
Okay.